In the dead of night, a shadow moves without a sound. No wing beat, no warning, just silence. And then, it's over. Somewhere beneath the grass, a mouse hears nothing. Because this bird doesn't hunt with its eyes first. It hunts with sound. This is the barn owl, one of nature's most precise night predators. While most creatures struggle in darkness, this ghostly hunter thrives in it. Its wings are built to erase noise. Its face acts like a living satellite dish. And its hearing is so accurate, it can pinpoint prey hidden under thick vegetation in total blackness. Tonight, you're going to discover how a bird can fly inches above the ground without making a whisper. How it maps the world using tiny differences in sound measured in milliseconds. And why darkness, for the barn owl, is not an obstacle, but an advantage. Because when silence becomes a weapon, every movement matters. Every mistake is fatal. And in the night, survival belongs to the unseen. But here's the question. How does an animal with eyes adapted for darkness rely even more on hearing than sight? And what happens when absolute silence is broken? The camera pulls back. Moonlight cuts through the field, and the barn owl glides, a pale shape ruling the night. Silence can be louder than sound, especially when it's hunting you. This is the barn owl, a bird so quiet in flight that its prey often realizes the mistake only after it's too late. No warning call, no wing noise, just air moving, and then nothing. That alone should make you uncomfortable. Barn owls live across almost every continent, North and South America, Europe, Africa, Asia, and Australia. Anywhere open land meets cover. Grasslands, farms, marsh edges, even abandoned buildings become hunting grounds. And unlike most birds, they don't rely on daylight. Night is their advantage. Their pale feathers aren't just for looks. The soft fringed edges of each wing break up air turbulence, allowing near-silent flight. If you think that's impressive, wait. Because sound matters more than sight here. A barn owl's heart-shaped face funnels noise directly toward its ears, which sits slightly uneven on the skull. That tiny imbalance lets the owl calculate exact distance and direction, sometimes detecting a mouse hidden beneath thick grass or snow. Do you think hearing is more important than vision in total darkness? People argue about that for a reason. Barn owls feed almost entirely on small mammals. Voles, mice, rats, and one owl can consume thousands in a single year. That makes them powerful pest controllers and very unwelcome guests to rodents everywhere. Their call isn't the classic hoot you expect either. It's a long, raspy scream, unsettling, sudden, and often mistaken for something far bigger. During breeding season, pairs form quietly. Nests are hidden in tree cavities, barns, cliffs, any dark, sheltered space. The female stays with the eggs while the male hunts relentlessly, delivering food with mechanical precision. Predators exist, eagles, great horned owls, but the barn owl's greatest defense is being almost impossible to hear. Here's the twist. Despite their ghostly reputation, barn owls don't see themselves as mysterious at all. They're just efficient. Darkness isn't scary when you're built to control it. So if silence itself can become a weapon, what happens when the night belongs to something even quieter? That question carries us forward into the next shadow. Imagine hearing something that your eyes can't see, through darkness, through distance, through snow. This is the great gray owl, one of the most acoustically precise hunters on Earth. It looks massive, almost intimidating, but here's the trick. Most of that size is feathers. What really matters is hidden beneath them, and it's all about sound. Great gray owls live across the northern forests of North America and Eurasia. Boreal forests, muskegs, forest edges, and frozen meadows define their world. Long winters, deep snow, low light, conditions that would shut down most predators, but not this one. In fact, winter is when the great gray owl truly shines. Unlike many owls, this species often hunts in near total silence while perched. It waits, listens, and listens again. Its facial disc acts like a radar dish, focusing the faintest rustle toward asymmetrical ears buried beneath dense feathers. A vole moving under snow doesn't stand a chance. Studies show great gray owls can strike prey they cannot see at all, punching through snow crust with pinpoint accuracy. Do you think that kind of precision is instinct or learned skill? People argue about that endlessly. Their diet is simple but strict. Small mammals, especially voles and lemmings. When prey populations crash, great gray owls don't adapt easily, and that makes them vulnerable. They don't migrate far, preferring to endure harsh winters rather than abandon a familiar territory. Their voice is surprisingly soft for such a large bird. Low hoots, evenly spaced, often swallowed by the forest itself. You might walk beneath one and never know it was there. That's part of the strategy. Being unseen is useful, but being unheard is power. Breeding begins early in spring. They don't build nests, instead using abandoned hawk or raven nests high in trees. The female incubates while the male hunts continuously, sometimes delivering food every few minutes. Timing matters. Miss the short northern summer and the chicks don't survive. Here's the irony. Despite their size, great gray owls are rarely aggressive. They rely on patience, precision, and patience again. Strength isn't the weapon. Information is. And if hearing alone can cut through snow and silence, what happens when a predator doesn't even need darkness to hunt? That brings us closer to the next ruler of the night. Brightness is supposed to defeat the night, but for this bird, darkness and daylight play by the same rules. This is the snowy owl, a predator built for extremes. While most night hunters fade when light increases, snowy owls operate comfortably in dim twilight, polar night, and low-contrast Arctic glare. Their vision is tuned not for darkness alone, but for contrast, the faint movement of prey against endless white. Snowy owls live across the Arctic tundra of North America and Eurasia, nesting on open ground where trees don't exist. During winter, many move south into Canada and the northern United States, appearing suddenly in open fields, coastlines, and airports. Anywhere that resembles tundra. When one shows up far from the Arctic, it's not lost. It's hunting. Their plumage is thick, dense, and heavily insulating, covering even the legs and toes. Males tend to be whiter, females darker and more barred, a useful difference when camouflage matters against snow patterns. Unlike most owls, snowy owls often hunt during the day, especially in summer when darkness barely exists. That alone breaks the nocturnal owl rule. Do you think an animal should still be called a night hunter if night barely exists where it lives? That debate never really ends. Their primary prey is lemmings, thousands of them over a lifetime. When lemming populations crash, snowy owls are forced to travel long distances, switching to birds, rabbits, or rodents. That flexibility keeps them alive, but it also explains why their numbers rise and fall dramatically from year to year. Snowy owls are mostly silent. Their calls are low, brief hoots, rarely heard outside breeding season. Instead of sound, they rely on stillness. They perch low, scan wide areas, and strike with sudden speed. No hovering, no dramatic chase, just precision. Breeding is tightly linked to food availability. In good years, females may lay up to 11 eggs. In poor years, none at all. There is no margin for error in the Arctic. Miss the window and the season is over. Here's the quiet truth. Snowy owls aren't masters of darkness because they prefer it. They master it because they can't afford failure. And if surviving endless winter demands perfect vision, what happens when size and raw power enter the night? That question drifts south, toward the next hunter. Size matters, especially when the night starts fighting back. This is the Eurasian eagle owl, one of the largest and most powerful owls on the planet. When this bird lands, branches bend. When it takes off, smaller predators notice. Darkness doesn't protect you from this owl, it amplifies it. Eurasian eagle owls range across a massive territory, from Western Europe through Russia, Central Asia, and into parts of the Middle East. They favor rocky cliffs, forested mountains, open woodlands, and even semi-desert landscapes. As long as there's cover and prey, they adapt easily. Cities don't scare them either. Abandoned quarries and urban edges work just fine. Their plumage is thick, mottled brown and black, perfectly breaking up their outline against rock and bark. Bright orange eyes dominate the face, fixed forward for powerful binocular vision. And unlike smaller owls that specialize in rodents, this one plays a different game. Eagle owls eat almost anything they can overpower. Hares, ducks, pheasants, hedgehogs, other owls, even foxes on rare occasions. If it moves at night, it's a potential meal. Here's a question worth arguing about. At what point does a bird stop being a hunter and start becoming the apex predator? Their call is deep, low, and booming, a sound that carries kilometers through valleys and forests. It's not frequent, but when it happens, everything listens. That voice isn't just communication, it's a warning. Breeding begins early in the year, sometimes while snow still covers the ground. Nests are simple scrapes on cliffs or ground ledges. The female incubates while the male delivers large prey, sometimes dragging animals heavier than himself. Chicks grow fast because they have to. Weakness doesn't last long in this family. Despite their power, eagle owls still face threats: human disturbance, habitat loss, and collisions. They don't tolerate constant disruption. Silence and space matter. Take those away and even giants struggle. Here's the twist. This owl doesn't rely on stealth alone. It relies on dominance. Other predators adjust their behavior simply because eagle owls exist nearby. Fear reshapes ecosystems. So if darkness can belong to brute force as much as silence, what happens when the night is ruled not by size, but by pure intimidation? That answer waits, with the next voice in the dark. If the forest had a voice at night, this would be it. This is the barred owl, a bird so vocal that silence rarely survives around it. While many owls rely on secrecy, barred owls announce themselves boldly, echoing through forests with a call that sounds suspiciously like a question, followed by laughter. And once you hear it, you don't forget it. Barred owls are native to eastern North America, living in dense woodlands, swamps, river corridors, and old-growth forests. Over the last century, they've expanded westward, adapting quickly to new environments. They don't need untouched wilderness. Mature trees, water nearby, and prey are enough. That flexibility has made them both successful and controversial. Is adaptability a strength or a problem when it reshapes ecosystems? That debate gets heated. Their plumage is brown and gray with strong vertical barring on the chest and horizontal stripes on the belly, breaking up their outline in low light. Dark eyes, unusual for owls, give them excellent night vision without the glowing stare of other species. They hunt mostly at night but aren't strictly nocturnal. Twilight and overcast days work just fine. Barred owls are opportunistic feeders. Small mammals, birds, frogs, snakes, crayfish, even fish end up on the menu. If it fits and moves, it's considered food. Their hunting style is direct. Perch, watch, drop. No dramatic chase, no wasted motion. Some argue this generalist diet is why they've been so successful. Others say it's exactly why they cause trouble. Their calls are among the most complex of any North American owl. Deep hoots, gurgles, cackles, often traded back and forth between pairs in loud nighttime conversations. These duets reinforce bonds and defend territory. You might think calling so much would attract danger, but confidence is part of the strategy. Would you challenge something that sounds that sure of itself? Breeding begins late winter. Nests are usually old tree cavities or abandoned hawk nests. The female incubates while the male delivers food steadily. Chicks grow quickly, branching out of the nest before they can fly, clambering awkwardly through trees like feathered climbers. Here's the irony. Barred owls thrive not because they're the quietest, fastest, or strongest, but because they're adaptable. They talk, they experiment, they move in. And if the night can be conquered by flexibility instead of force, what happens when precision replaces personality? That answer is waiting, just a little deeper in the dark. If timing is everything, then this owl lives in the space between moments. This is the tawny owl, a bird that doesn't just hear sound, but measures it. In the dark forests of Europe, where vision fails early and shadows blur into one another, the tawny owl survives by turning tiny delays into deadly accuracy. Tawny owls are widespread across Europe and parts of Western Asia, favoring mature deciduous forests, woodland edges, parks, and even large gardens. They are highly territorial and rarely migrate. Once a tawny owl claims a patch of forest, it stays, sometimes for life. That loyalty has a cost. If conditions change, moving isn't the plan. Enduring is. Their plumage comes in two main color forms, gray and reddish-brown, both perfectly match to tree bark. During the day, they vanish against trunks and branches, often ignored by predators and people alike. At night, those same feathers insulate the body and soften airflow, allowing controlled, quiet movement through dense woodland. But the real advantage sits inside the skull. Tawny owls have ears positioned asymmetrically, one slightly higher than the other. That difference allows them to detect time delays in sound measured in milliseconds. A mouse rustles leaves below, and the owl knows not just where it is, but exactly how far. Some scientists argue this level of precision rivals artificial sensors. Do you think technology has truly caught up with biology yet? That argument never ends. Their diet includes small mammals, birds, insects, and amphibians. Hunting is mostly perch-based. Listen, calculate, strike. The process looks effortless, but it's not. Missed too often and energy disappears fast. Their call is iconic, a long, wavering hoot followed by a sharp reply, often mistaken for human voices in the forest. These vocal exchanges mark territory and reinforce pair bonds. Tawny owls mate for life. Breeding begins early in the year, sometimes in winter. Eggs are laid in tree cavities, and the female rarely leaves while incubating. The male hunts constantly, delivering food with strict regularity. Fall behind, and the brood fails. Here's the twist. Tawny owls don't dominate by strength or size. They dominate by timing, by being right at exactly the right instant. So if milliseconds can decide survival, what happens when vision starts to matter more than sound? That answer waits behind a pair of unmistakable eyes. Those pale circles around its eyes aren't decoration. They're a warning. This is the spectacled owl, a night hunter whose stare looks almost comical at first glance. But don't be fooled. In the lowland rainforests of Central and South America, humor fades quickly after dark. This bird is built for seeing what others miss. Spectacled owls live in dense tropical forests, flooded woodlands, and forest edges, from southern Mexico through the Amazon basin. They depend on thick canopy cover and high humidity, rarely venturing into open landscapes. Unlike migratory owls, they stay put year-round, memorizing their territory in detail. In a rainforest, knowing the layout matters more than speed. Would you rather run fast or never get lost? That's a real question here. Their plumage is dark brown to blackish, with a contrasting, pale spectacle pattern around the eyes and throat. That facial pattern helps break up the outline of the face in low light, reducing glare and improving visual focus at night. Their eyes are large, forward-facing, and optimized for low-light vision rather than sharp color detail. Movement is what matters. A twitch, a shadow, a mistake. Spectacled owls hunt mostly at night using a slow, deliberate perch and drop strategy. Their diet includes small mammals, birds, large insects, reptiles, and amphibians. Frogs are a favorite, especially in wet seasons when sound gives prey away. Ironically, the louder the rainforest becomes, the easier it is for this owl to hunt. Do you think noise always helps prey hide? In this case, it does the opposite. Their call is deep and booming, echoing through the forest in a rhythmic pattern often described as haunting. Pairs use these calls to maintain contact in thick vegetation where visibility is limited. Breeding is seasonal and tied closely to rainfall. Nests are usually placed in tree cavities. The female incubates while the male supplies food, often traveling long distances through familiar routes carved into memory. Here's the quiet truth. Spectacled owls don't rush. They wait. In a forest full of motion, patience becomes power. And if eyes alone can dominate the night, what happens when hearing gains a third dimension? That question pulls us deeper, toward a hunter with ears that don't quite match. Those long ear tufts don't actually hear a thing, and that's where the confusion begins. This is the long-eared owl, a bird that looks like it's all about ears, but secretly listens with something far more sophisticated. In the quiet woodlands and open fields of Europe, Asia, and North America, this owl doesn't just locate sound, it builds a three-dimensional map of it. Long-eared owls prefer dense trees for roosting and open ground for hunting. Conifer stands, hedgerows, forest edges, places where shadow and cover overlap. During the day, they disappear into foliage, perching upright and stretching their bodies to mimic branches. People can walk past an entire roost and never notice. At night, everything changes. Their plumage is mottled brown, gray, and black, blending perfectly with bark and dead leaves. But the real advantage lies beneath the feathers. Like several owls, long-eared owls have asymmetrical ears, one higher, one lower. That offset allows them to detect vertical and horizontal differences in sound, giving depth to every rustle. A mouse moves below, and the owl knows not just where it is, but how high, how far, and how fast. Here's the debate. If you had to choose, would you rather see in perfect detail or hear in three dimensions? Their diet consists mainly of small mammals, especially voles. Hunting is almost entirely nocturnal. They perch, listen, and strike with sudden precision, often dropping straight down through vegetation. Flight is light and controlled, designed for maneuvering rather than speed. Unlike many owls, long-eared owls are surprisingly social outside the breeding season. They roost communally, sometimes dozens together in winter. It's an odd choice for a stealth hunter. Does sharing space increase safety or risk exposure? Scientists still argue about that balance. Their calls are soft and easily missed, low hoots and brief contact sounds. Breeding begins in early spring. They don't build nests, instead using abandoned crow or hawk nests. The female incubates while the male hunts steadily, sometimes caching food nearby to keep pace with growing chicks. Here's the twist. Those dramatic ear tufts everyone notices, they're for communication and camouflage, not hearing at all. The real ears stay hidden, doing the work quietly. So if hearing can shape space itself, what happens when a bird stops using sight entirely? That question echoes ahead, into the darkness of a cave. Forget eyes for a moment. Imagine hunting by sound alone. This is the oilbird, the only bird on Earth that uses true echolocation the way bats do. In total darkness, where light is useless and vision fails completely, this bird clicks its way through the night. Oilbirds live in northern South America and parts of Central America, but you rarely see them. That's because their world begins in caves, deep limestone caverns, sinkholes, and rocky chambers that never see sunlight. By day, they cling to cave walls in noisy colonies, packed together shoulder to shoulder. By night, they leave the cave and fly long distances over rainforest canopy in search of food. Navigation here isn't optional. One wrong turn in a cave means death. Would you trust your survival to sound alone? Their plumage is brown with white speckling, offering camouflage against rock and shadow. The wings are long and narrow, built for sustained flight rather than tight maneuvering. Their eyes are large and light-sensitive. But here's the twist. Eyes aren't enough. Inside caves, oilbirds emit rapid clicking sounds. The echoes bounce off cave walls, allowing the bird to build a mental map of space, distance, and obstacles. This isn't a metaphor. Experiments show oilbirds crash when clicks are blocked. Take the sound away, and the system fails. Oilbirds don't hunt animals at all. Their diet consists almost entirely of fruit, especially oily palm fruits and laurels. They pluck fruit mid-air or directly from branches at night, then carry it back to the cave. That diet gives them their name and their smell. Oilbirds have a strong, musky odor that fills their roosts. Predators like snakes, owls, and humans have taken advantage of this over time. Historically, chicks were harvested for oil. Today, disturbance is the bigger threat. Caves don't forgive noise or light. Their calls are loud, harsh screeches, part communication, part navigation. In breeding season, pairs nest on cave ledges. The female lays a single egg, and both parents feed the chick regurgitated fruit pulp. Growth is slow. There's no rushing life underground. Here's the reality. Oilbirds don't master darkness because they want to. They have no choice. Their entire existence depends on sound shaping space. So if vision can be replaced entirely, what happens when a bird returns to the night sky without caves, without clicks, and without a second chance? That question pulls us back outside, toward a hunter of open air. It doesn't sing at night, it slices through it. This is the common nighthawk, a bird that turns open sky into a hunting ground after sunset. Despite the name, it's not a hawk at all. No talons, no hooked beak, just wings, speed, and timing. Common nighthawks are widespread across North and South America. They breed throughout much of the United States and Canada, favoring open habitats, grasslands, deserts, river valleys, beaches, and increasingly, cities. Flat rooftops now substitute for rocky ground, proving this bird doesn't care much about tradition. Adaptation beats nostalgia. Would you call that clever or desperate? People argue about that more than you'd expect. Their plumage is cryptic, gray, brown, and black, modeling that blends perfectly with gravel, bark, and asphalt. During the day, they rest motionless, relying entirely on camouflage. At dusk, everything changes. Long, narrow wings lift them into the air, and suddenly the sky belongs to them. Nighthawks feed exclusively on flying insects, moths, beetles, mosquitoes, ants, snatched mid-air with a mouth that opens far wider than it looks possible. There's no precision strike here. It's volume and timing. Fly where insects gather, open wide, repeat. A single bird can consume thousands of insects in one night. Helpful or horrifying, depending on which side you're on. Their flight is erratic, twisting and booming. That sharp peent call cuts through twilight, and during courtship, males perform dramatic dives, pulling up at the last second to create a loud rushing sound as air tears through their wings. No voice required, just physics. Do you think sound made by feathers counts as communication? The bird clearly thinks so. Breeding is minimalistic. No nest, just bare ground, gravel, or rooftops. 2 eggs laid directly on the surface. The female relies on camouflage, freezing when danger approaches. Chicks hatch already patterned like stones, disappearing in plain sight. It's risky, but efficient. Here's the twist. Nighthawks aren't creatures of darkness because they love night. They use it because that's where the food is. When insects rise, the sky fills, and opportunity follows. So if darkness can turn the air itself into a hunting zone, what happens when night demands perfect stillness instead of motion? That answer waits quietly, just ahead. If you're looking straight at it, you're probably already too late. This is the European nightjar, a bird that doesn't hide in the dark so much as become part of it. In the forests and heathlands of Europe, this species survives not by chasing the night, but by freezing inside it. European nightjars breed across much of Europe and Western Asia, favoring open woodland, pine forests, scrub, and dry heath. They migrate long distances, spending winters in sub-Saharan Africa before returning north as temperatures rise. Their timing is precise. Arrive too early, insects aren't active. Too late, and breeding opportunities vanish. Migration isn't a journey here, it's a calculation. Their plumage is a masterclass in camouflage. Mottled browns, grays, and black lines match bark, leaf litter, and soil so perfectly that even experienced observers miss them. During the day, nightjars rest directly on the ground or along low branches, aligned lengthwise to erase their outline. They don't flush easily, they trust stillness. Would you rely on movement to escape or bet everything on not being seen at all? That choice defines this bird. At dusk, the strategy shifts. Nightjars hunt flying insects, moths, beetles, flies, using long wings and silent, buoyant flight. Like nighthawks, they feed on the wing, opening wide mouths to scoop prey from the air. But unlike nighthawks, they stay low, skimming forest edges and clearings where insects gather. Their voice is unmistakable. A continuous mechanical churring sound pulses through warm summer nights, often lasting minutes without pause. It's not melodic, it's relentless. Males call to attract mates and defend territory, sometimes vibrating their entire body to produce the sound. People debate whether it's soothing or unsettling. Either way, you don't ignore it. Breeding is simple and risky. No nest, just bare ground. 2 eggs laid among leaves or gravel. The female incubates while relying entirely on camouflage. If threatened, she may perform a broken wing display, dragging danger away from the eggs. Drama as distraction, old but effective. Here's the twist. Nightjars don't dominate darkness through speed or power. They dominate it through invisibility. The night doesn't reveal them, it protects them. So if survival can mean disappearing in plain sight, what happens when a bird chooses deception over flight? That question leads us forward to a master of stillness that looks nothing like a bird at all. At first glance, this isn't a bird at all. It's a broken branch that somehow learned how to breathe. This is the Australian tawny frogmouth, a night bird that survives not by fleeing danger, but by convincing the world it doesn't exist. In the woodlands and open forests of Australia, deception beats speed every single time. Tawny frogmouths are found across most of Australia, living in eucalyptus forests, savannas, farmland, and even suburban parks. They don't migrate, they don't roam. Once they choose a territory, they stay put, memorizing every branch and shadow. Familiarity is the real survival tool here. Would you rather outrun a threat or never trigger it in the first place? Their plumage is mottled gray, brown, and black, perfectly matching tree bark. During the day, they perch upright on exposed branches, stretching their bodies, narrowing their eyes, and freezing completely. This posture isn't accidental. It breaks the bird's outline, making it indistinguishable from a dead limb. Even predators often look straight at them and move on. Stillness in this case is active defense. At night, the illusion drops. Tawny frogmouths hunt from perches, swooping down to catch insects, spiders, small reptiles, frogs, and even mice. Their wide, frog-like mouth snaps shut with surprising speed. Unlike owls, they don't rely on silent flight or extreme hearing. They rely on timing and ambush. Watch, wait, strike, reset. Their call is a low, resonant carrying softly through the night. Pairs often call to each other, reinforcing long-term bonds. Tawny frogmouths mate for life. Breeding season varies by region, but nests are flimsy platforms of sticks placed in open branches. It looks careless, until you realize camouflage does most of the work. The female incubates while the male guards nearby, both adults relying on immobility when danger approaches. Here's the twist. Frogmouths aren't weak flyers or failed owls. They've simply chosen a different strategy. When motion attracts attention, the smartest move is not to move at all. So if survival can depend on becoming invisible, what happens when a bird chooses the night not for hiding, but for hunting water itself? That answer waits quietly, along the edge of a moonlit shoreline. Daytime belongs to patience, but night belongs to opportunity. This is the black-crowned night heron, a bird that politely steps aside while others hunt in daylight, then takes over when the lights go down. While most herons rely on sunlit shallows, this one prefers moonlit water and quiet shorelines. Black-crowned night herons are found on every continent except Australia and Antarctica. They inhabit wetlands, marshes, rivers, lakes, mangroves, and coastal estuaries. During the day, they roost in trees or dense vegetation, often in large groups, appearing sleepy and inactive. That's intentional. Energy is saved for later. Would you waste effort when the competition is awake, or wait until it isn't? Their plumage is compact and cleanly patterned. A black crown and back contrast with pale gray wings and underparts. Red eyes stand out sharply in low light, enhancing contrast when hunting at night. Unlike long-legged waders that stalk slowly, night herons use a sit-and-wait approach. They stand motionless at the water's edge, watching reflections, ripples, and shadows. Moonlight becomes a tool, bouncing off fish scales and betraying movement below the surface. Their diet is broad and flexible. Fish, frogs, crustaceans, insects, small mammals, even the occasional bird or egg. If it moves near water, it's considered food. They strike with a sudden jab of the bill, fast and efficient. Some individuals have been observed dropping objects or bait onto the water to lure fish closer. Tool use or coincidence? That argument gets louder every year. Their call is distinctive and abrupt, a harsh quack that often echoes during takeoff at dusk. It's not musical and it's not subtle, but it works. Vocalizations help maintain contact between feeding sites and roosts as darkness spreads. Breeding occurs in colonies, sometimes numbering in the hundreds. Nests are built in trees or reeds, often close to water. Both parents share incubation and feeding duties, regurgitating food for the chicks. Predators include raccoons, owls, and larger birds of prey. But the biggest threat comes from wetland loss and human disturbance. Night herons tolerate people, up to a point. Here's the twist. This bird isn't faster, sharper, or stronger than daytime herons. It simply hunts when others stop. Timing, once again, becomes the advantage. So if the night can turn still water into a hunting mirror, what happens when darkness shifts the focus from fish to something that fights back? That answer waits just ahead, on longer legs and sharper claws. If cracking armor sounds like a job for strength, this bird proves it's really about precision. This is the yellow-crowned night heron, a specialist that hunts when most prey thinks it's safe. While daylight herons chase fish in open water, this one waits for nightfall and goes after something harder to catch and harder to eat. Yellow-crowned night herons are found throughout the southeastern United States, Central America, the Caribbean, and much of South America. They favor coastal wetlands, mangroves, tidal creeks, and forested swamps, places where shallow water meets thick cover. During the day, they roost quietly in trees, often unnoticed. At dusk, they move with purpose, slipping toward feeding sites as the light fades. Their plumage is gray-blue with a bold black face pattern and a pale yellow crown, more visible up close than at a distance. At night, those colors dissolve into shadow. Long legs allow them to wade slowly, deliberately, scanning mud and water edges for movement. But fish aren't the main target here. Crabs are. This heron's diet centers on crustaceans, fiddler crabs, land crabs, and crayfish. Its bill is thicker and stronger than that of many herons, built to grab, flip, and crush hard shells. The technique is careful, almost methodical. Grab, disable, reposition, break. Do you think specialization makes an animal safer or more vulnerable when conditions change? That debate fits this bird perfectly. Unlike many night hunters, yellow-crowned night herons often feed alone. Silence matters. Sound carries over water, and startled crabs disappear instantly. Their calls are low and infrequent, used mostly near nesting sites rather than while hunting. Breeding season varies by region, but often begins in spring. Nests are built in trees, sometimes surprisingly close to human neighborhoods near water. Colonies are smaller than those of black-crowned night herons, and pairs tend to be less tolerant of neighbors. Both parents incubate the eggs and feed the chicks, delivering partially digested prey. Young birds take time to master crab handling skills. Mistakes are common and messy. Here's the twist. This heron doesn't dominate the night by speed or surprise. It dominates by understanding its prey better than anyone else. Knowledge replaces force. So if darkness can reward patience and specialization, what happens when the night calls for raw aggression instead? That answer comes next. With wings wide and talons ready, if the night had a top predator, this would be the one everything else learns to avoid. This is the great horned owl, often called the tiger of the night sky. And unlike many nocturnal hunters that rely on finesse or subtlety, this owl rules through sheer versatility and force. In the darkness, almost nothing is off the menu. Great horned owls are found across nearly all of North America, from Arctic tree lines to tropical forests in Central America. Deserts, wetlands, woodlands, farmland, even city parks. If there's prey, this owl can live there. That adaptability alone explains why it's one of the most successful predators on the continent. Would you rather specialize perfectly or survive almost anywhere? Their plumage is thick and heavily mottled, blending browns, grays, and blacks into a pattern that disappears against bark and shadow. The feathered horns aren't ears at all, but visual signals that help break up the head's outline. Large yellow eyes provide strong, low-light vision, while asymmetrical ears allow precise sound localization. Vision and hearing work together here. Neither one alone is enough. Great horned owls eat almost anything they can catch. Rabbits, skunks, rats, snakes, ducks, other owls, hawks, yes, even animals that smell or fight back. Their talons exert crushing force, killing prey instantly. If you think silence equals weakness, this bird disagrees. Power doesn't need subtlety. Do you think fear spreads faster through ecosystems than actual predation? Many ecologists would say yes. Their call is a deep, resonant hooting pattern. Slow, confident, unmistakable. It carries far and announces ownership of territory long before a fight begins. Most rivals leave before contact ever happens. Breeding starts early, often in midwinter. Great horned owls don't build nests, instead taking over old hawk or crow nests. The female incubates while the male hunts relentlessly. Snow, cold, darkness. It doesn't matter. Chicks hatch into a world where delay means death. Growth is fast. Hesitation is not rewarded. Here's the truth. This owl doesn't master darkness because it's quiet or clever. It masters darkness because it's prepared for anything the night can throw back. So if raw power can bend the night to its will, what happens when survival depends instead on becoming part of the tree itself? That question pulls us closer, toward a much smaller shadow. If you think small means harmless, the night would like a word. This is the eastern screech owl, a bird that survives not by size or strength, but by vanishing in plain sight. In forests, suburbs, and backyards across eastern North America, this owl turns trees into camouflage and darkness into cover. Eastern screech owls are widespread from southern Canada through the eastern United States and into parts of Mexico. They live wherever mature trees exist, deciduous forests, woodlots, orchards, city parks, even quiet neighborhoods. They don't migrate, they stay put year-round, learning every hollow, branch, and shadow. In a small territory, familiarity isn't helpful. It's essential. Would you explore new ground or master every inch of the old one? Their plumage comes in two main color morphs, gray and reddish-brown. Both match tree bark with unsettling accuracy. During the day, screech owls roost inside tree cavities or press their bodies tightly against trunks, pulling feathers close and raising small ear tufts to break up their outline. Predators often look directly at them and keep moving. Stillness does the work. At night, they hunt using a flexible strategy. Small mammals, birds, insects, earthworms, frogs. Nothing is too small or too strange. They hunt from perches, dropping quickly onto prey, or snatching insects mid-air. Their flight is silent but short range. This isn't a long pursuit hunter, it's an ambush specialist. Do you think versatility matters more than perfection when resources change? Screech owls quietly vote yes. Their calls are anything but subtle. Instead of hoots, they produce trills and descending whinnies. Sounds often mistaken for insects or even horses in the distance. These calls maintain territory and attract mates, especially in late winter when breeding begins. Pairs form early, sometimes while snow still covers the ground. Nesting happens inside natural tree cavities or nest boxes. The female incubates while the male delivers food consistently. Chicks grow fast, competing aggressively for meals. In such tight quarters, cooperation is limited. Survival favors the loudest and quickest. Predators include larger owls, raccoons, snakes, and hawks. But the biggest threats come from habitat loss and vehicle collisions. Living close to humans brings opportunity and risk. Here's the twist. Eastern screech owls don't control the night by dominating it. They blend into it so completely that the night forgets they're there. So if becoming part of the tree itself can keep you alive, what happens when survival depends not on hiding, but on smell? That question drifts forward, toward one of the strangest birds after dark. Imagine being loud, heavy, and unable to fly, and choosing the night anyway. This is the kakapo, a parrot that breaks nearly every bird rule you know. Native only to New Zealand, this is the world's heaviest parrot, and one of the very few that lives almost entirely at night. Flight was optional here. Stealth was not. Kakapos evolved in forests with no native land mammals, so speed and escape were never part of the plan. Instead, they became nocturnal, ground-dwelling specialists. Today, they survive only in carefully protected areas, mostly on predator-free islands. Mossy forests, dense understory, and damp ground define their world. They don't migrate. They don't roam far. They memorize their territory step by step. Would you trust your survival to familiarity alone? The kakapo had no other choice. Their plumage is green and yellow, heavily mottled with black, blending perfectly into ferns and leaf litter. By day, kakapos freeze in place, relying entirely on camouflage. At night, they move slowly but deliberately, climbing trees with strong legs and beaks, then parachuting back down using partially open wings. It's clumsy, but effective enough. Their diet is entirely plant-based. Leaves, shoots, roots, seeds, and fruit make up the menu. Certain native fruits trigger breeding, and that's where things get strange. Kakapos don't breed every year. They wait for mass years, periods when key trees produce abundant fruit. When that happens, males gather in traditional display sites and begin booming. Booming is not subtle. Males produce deep, resonant calls that travel kilometers through the forest at night. The sound comes from an inflatable throat sac and echoes like distant thunder. Loud, slow, repetitive. Exactly the opposite of stealth. Do you think advertising yourself that loudly is confidence or desperation? That debate defines this species. Females choose mates, lay eggs in ground nests, and raise chicks alone. Males provide nothing but sound. Chicks grow slowly and are extremely vulnerable. Introduced predators nearly wipe the species out. Today, human intervention keeps them alive, monitoring nests, protecting eggs, and managing every detail. Here's the hard truth. Kakapos didn't fail evolution. Evolution simply changed faster than they could. What once worked perfectly in the dark became dangerous overnight. So if the night can shelter the slow and the strange, what happens when those same eyes must scan open ground instead of forest floor? That answer waits ahead, with legs built for running. Those eyes aren't oversized by accident. They're built for a world that comes alive after dark. This is the stone curlew, a bird that looks almost awkward by day, but becomes sharply alert once the light fades. Also known as the Eurasian thick-knee, this species survives the night not by flying high or striking fast, but by watching everything, all at once. Stone curlews are found across Europe, parts of North Africa, the Middle East, and into South Asia. They favor open, dry habitats, grasslands, stony plains, farmland, riverbanks, places with little cover and wide sightlines. Trees are optional, space is not. During the day, they rely on camouflage and stillness, crouching low against the ground where their mottled brown and gray plumage blends perfectly with soil and stones. At night, those enormous yellow eyes take over. Stone curlews are primarily nocturnal feeders, using low light to detect movement across open ground. Their vision excels at picking up contrast, even under moonlight or starlight. In wide, exposed habitats, hearing alone isn't enough. You need to see danger coming. Would you rather detect a threat early or react fast when it's already close? The stone curlew chooses early. Their diet is varied and opportunistic. Large insects, beetles, worms, spiders, small reptiles, amphibians, and occasionally small mammals all make the list. Hunting is methodical. Walk, stop, stare, strike. No dramatic chases, no wasted energy. That restraint matters in environments where food can be scarce. Their call is one of the most haunting sounds of open countryside at night. A loud, piercing, wailing cry that carries over long distances. It's often heard long before the bird is seen, marking territory and maintaining contact between pairs. Some people find it eerie. Others find it comforting. Either way, it's unmistakable. Do you think a sound can make a landscape feel alive, even when nothing is visible? Breeding takes place on bare ground. No nest structure, just a shallow scrape among stones or soil. Eggs are camouflaged to near perfection. Both parents share incubation duties, relying on stillness when danger approaches. If threatened, adults may run rather than fly. leading predators away from the nest. Flight is a last resort. Here's the twist. Stone curlews don't dominate the night by stealth or strength. They dominate it by awareness, by seeing more and reacting less. So if survival can depend on watching the darkness itself, what happens when the night shifts from open ground to tangled water and shadow? That question draws us forward, toward our final hunter. That bill looks oversized until you see what it's designed to do in the dark. This is the boat-billed heron, a bird that hunts not by sight alone, but by feel, vibration, and patience. In the tangled mangroves and flooded forests of Central and South America, darkness isn't empty, it's crowded, and this heron knows how to read it. Boat-billed herons are found from southern Mexico through the Amazon basin, favoring mangroves, swamp forests, slow rivers, and shaded wetlands. They avoid open water and bright shorelines, preferring enclosed, shadow-heavy habitats where sound and movement travel differently. During the day, they roost quietly in dense vegetation, often hunched and motionless, looking almost comical. At night, that posture becomes intent. Their plumage is soft gray and buff, with a dark cap that blends into canopy shadows. But the defining feature is the bill, wide, deep, and shaped like a shallow bowl. It isn't built for stabbing like other herons. It's built for scooping. In low light, the boat-billed heron stands over water and waits. When fish, frogs, or crustaceans move below the surface, the bird snaps the bill shut, trapping prey without needing precise visual alignment. Would you rather aim perfectly or design a tool that forgives small mistakes? This bird chose the second option. Their diet includes fish, shrimp, crabs, aquatic insects, frogs, and even small mammals. Hunting is slow and deliberate. No lunging, no chasing, just controlled movement and sudden closure. Studies suggest they rely heavily on tactile cues and vibrations, especially in murky water where vision alone fails. Their calls are low and croaking, often exchanged between individuals as they leave roosts at dusk. Boat-billed herons are more social than they appear, sometimes feeding in loose groups at night. Breeding occurs seasonally with nests built in trees or shrubs near water. Colonies are small. Both parents incubate eggs and feed chicks by regurgitation. Growth is steady, not rushed. Precision takes time. Predators include owls, snakes, and mammals. But the greatest threat comes from habitat loss. Mangroves drained, wetlands altered. Darkness doesn't help if the water disappears. Here's the final twist. This heron doesn't conquer the night by overpowering it. It adapts to it, shapes itself around uncertainty, and waits. So after silence, sound, strength, vision, camouflage, patience, and power, what really defines a master of the night? That answer lingers long after the dark settles. When the sun disappears, the world doesn't sleep, it changes. Tonight, you've seen birds that hunt without sound, navigate without light, and survive where mistakes mean death. Some ruled the darkness with hearing measured in milliseconds, others with eyes built for starlight, or patience sharpened into a weapon. What connects them isn't size, range, or strength, it's adaptation. Every feather, every call, every silence shaped by the night itself. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Most of these birds don't fear darkness. They depend on it. But as human light spreads farther into forests, wetlands, and skies, the night is getting smaller, quieter for us, louder for them. So the real question isn't how these birds master the dark. It's whether the dark will still exist long enough for them to survive. If this journey made you see the night differently, if it changed how you think about silence, shadows, and survival, then stay with us, because this world is full of creatures you rarely notice until they're gone. Subscribe for more true wildlife stories from the edge of visibility, where nature doesn't perform, it adapts. And remember, the most powerful animals on Earth aren't always the ones you see. They're the ones watching after the lights go out.